right, everybody. Thank you again for joining. Today, we have Andy Prasky, the preferred home team, Remax Advantage Plus. He is the founder of this group and also a tried and true Park Center Pirate. They're all over.
That's a lot to say in one statement.
It
John.
It's like, for the areas that we live in, it's either you're a Park Center Pirate or a Cooper Hawk. And they just keep growing, it's crazy.
It's a great area, great people,
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun.
I think I've gone through all of my friends over the years where helping them sell their parents' house. And it's like, I've got another one next week where we're going over to Brooklyn Center, and a buddy of mine, parents are selling their house and they're moving on to, one level living, want to get out of the maintenance and everything. And I absolutely feel like it's a family reunion where a lot of people feel like, oh, you're working. I love the concept of going back, visiting old friends, their parents, and helping out. And it helps, it's kind of like that. You always have the good side of the business and the bad side of the business. That's the good side of the business, the side that's very rewarding and fun. For
sure. And I think we're coming, you and I are about the same age. We're coming into that realm of it where we're able to help our friends' parents, but also help our friends' kids. And it's just, it's just like a snowball. It's just like, it's so cool because
John, did you out of high school or out of college, did you get one of those cheesy first-time jobs where you had what's going on with my, there we go. You get one of those first-time jobs where you're selling knives or whatever. I sold water filters. So I went through all of my buddies' parents. I'm like, hey, this is Andy Prasky. I've got this great way for you to take all these minerals out of your water. And I sold water filters. And I swear to God, every single meeting would end with the parents sitting there looking at you like this, and they go, why is my kid sitting in the basement playing video games and you're out here trying to sell water filters?
Exactly. I mean, I started right away out of college and I started telemarketing. I was calling for mortgage. And I'd be like, I look at it now, and I was talking to people the other day. They're like, oh, I hate picking up the phone. I'm like, man, that thing was like, we duct taped them to our ears and just kept going, It was like, let's go. So it was fun.
I had a young kid. Now remember how some of the younger people, they pick up a phone, they see a phone with the rotary dial on it, and they don't know what it is?
Yeah.
I had a kid the other day, a neighbor kid comes over and he says, hey, I heard you have a car collection, which I have cars all over my office. You can kind of see over here. And he goes, can I see your car collection? I'm like, come on up. And the phone rang in the office. And he was looking around like, he goes, is that the fire alarm? Had no idea what a phone even ringing was. Because he grew up in a house where everybody has zzz, zzz on their phone. There's no ringing.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I can't even wait to see what the next goofy thing is.
Yeah, it's crazy. You say you have a car collection growing up. So again, about our same age, and you probably remember this from, growing up, having your mom and dad, and your mom probably had these big group of women and everything. But do you remember back when Avon had cars that they put the cologne and everything in?
They're neatly packed in a box in my basement, and someday are gonna be worth millions.
Yeah, I still have mine too, and I'm like, man, are these? I thought I was the cool, and I'd be really cool, and I'd pour different colored water in there to make the cars look different things.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden I was like, man, girls are cooler than these cars, so
for sure.
Let's get these cars out of here.
I tell you what, though, you want to go back in time, open up one of those old perfume bottles and take a whiff. You're like, God, we smelled like this back then?
Yeah. I saw someone put it on there the other day. Growing up, what was your favorite kind of cologne? And it was like, dude, what do you want? Your car? Polo? That was about the only two we had. Our you hit Dad's Old Spice, I was
going to say, you must have been rich because we used Brute. The old green bottle of Brute.
Yeah, I had to go to Brookdale and just, go to the Dayton's and get it real quick. Yeah. Or Carson Perry Scott, just run through, spray it quick, let's go. Yeah.
Gosh, I forgot about Carson Perry Scott. We're going back in time, man.
We're going way back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's get it off here. 5 questions.
Yeah.
Tell us about Andy Prasky.
You just heard it all.
I grew up.
I've been doing real estate. Yeah. Back in the day, at Park Center, a lot of my buddies from school knew me as Candy Andy. or the candy man, and used to carry around a duffel bag the size of a small car full of candy bars. And I've always hustled, it's like and not in a bad way, in a good way. Like I've always been interested in making extra or doing more. And how do I get ahead? How do I, what could I be doing with this opportunity in front of me? And I started, weirdly enough, in the candy business. And I even had teachers it was kind of funny. So anybody that went to Park Center from way back, they were like, you weren't allowed to sell things in school for lots of reasons, right? And I had this story. I said, well, back when they used to care about the church, right? And they're like, I said, my church, we're trying to save up enough money for this church skiing trip. And the principal was like, okay, Mrs. Lamp. She goes, okay, Judy Lamp was her name. And if she sees this, she was wonderful, by the way. Go through all 3 years of high school, and we're at the senior, and I'm walking across to grab my diploma. And she goes, I hope you saved up enough money for your ski trip. After 3 years of selling candy bars, you knew what I was up to, But I mean, so that's how I kind of started. I also did a lot of landscaping when I was a younger guy. I like to stay busy, and I actually enjoy physical labor. So I don't know, I got into it, would ride my bike. So I was in Brooklyn Park. So if I wasn't riding up to the Village North, where we'd play at Circus, we would go to the north through all the potato fields. Had a couple buddies out that have dirt bikes. So I grew up in Brooklyn Park, where we were riding dirt bikes in Brooklyn Park, in North Brooklyn Park. Yep. And that was, I should preface that by saying my mom and dad bought a house on down in North Minneapolis, right by Patrick Henry High School. And my mom says, you know what? I don't want to raise a city kid here. She goes, I want to move up to the country and get a little closer to the potatoes so these kids can understand what it's like to be a hard worker. And so we moved to Brooklyn Park to get out of the city, which now I look back and I chuckle. But anyway, so I worked for a landscaper that had a big tree farm out there, landscaping. Went to college locally when I was in high school at North Hennepin, and then went to Metro State. Loved it. My goal is always to get out of school and get to making money. I've always been that, let's go, get it done, let's go. And so I did what I had to do to get through school. So I had the box checked, which is nice, because now that I'm in real estate, and I'm sure you can appreciate this too, John, you talk to some people that are, 5 pay levels above us, right? And they're intellects. And I don't need to understand everything they're saying. I just want to be able to have a conversation. So I always thought school is important for me to get through. So I've got a marketing degree in school, but I don't know how deep you wanted me to go. I'm kind of deep.
No, that's good. That's good.
I mean, pull me out of
it's one of those things where I think it's good for people to hear this, though, especially younger people, because I think they're so thrown at them. We've had kids coming through high school and everything. And it's so, oh, you got to go to college. You got to go. You know what? Step back. Find something that you enjoy. If you're good with your hands, trade school is okay. If you want to do this, you do this. Being the entrepreneur, and a lot of younger kids want to be the entrepreneur. You got to work. You got to grind. You have to do these things to make a difference, because that's how it works. So it leads into question number 2, and you're kind of touching on it. But why real estate? What drew you to real estate?
So I was a young whippersnapper. I was buying my first house. I was 20 years old and saved up $20,000. I'm like, I'm a big shot. I'm going to buy a $100,000 house. I'm going to put $20,000 down. And this was, I'm not kidding you. I have never worked that hard in my life, because back then you'd make about $20,000 a year. I mean, it wasn't like it was a big deal. And I saved, scratched, everything I could to get that money put together. And then I went out with one of my friends. I'll be careful how I say this, because you might still be in the business. I went out with a real estate agent, and that real estate agent was so pushy to me and so rude to me, and just, you're a young kid, you don't have the money, are you sure you have the money? Can you prove it to me? Almost before he even wanted to show me houses. Showed him I had the money. Then he didn't like the fact that I was only buying a $100,000 house. So literally kept pushing me like, well, it's not going to get any better than this, kid. You might as well write the offer. I go, but what about the roof? The roof is bad. Well, you and your buddies can do the roof. You can, and that kind of a push. And I got so disgusted with this guy that I literally went back to my dad. And I was talking to my dad, and my dad was an entrepreneur himself. He in the cabinet business, owned a company called Cabinet Brokers. If anybody remembers old Nicolo's right on Highway 100 over there,
oh, yeah.
He was right behind him at a cabinet shop there, kitchen remodeling. And my dad was like, you know what? I think I've lived the life cycle of this business. I'm looking for something new. And I said, man, why don't we get into real estate? And, my dad jumped in first. I went and got my first big boy job. I was right out of college, doing my thing. And I had my big boy job. But my dad said, hey, let's go out and we'll find you a house and we'll take our time. And both of us were very comfortable with new construction because of his, cabinet business. Yeah. And so we started looking at new construction and I go, I can build in Edinburgh on a cul-de-sac lot. I can build my cute little split entry. I'll finish the basement, put the deck on myself. And I bought that house for $98,000. Brand new. I'll landscape it myself. Boy, I was Mr. Sweat Equity. $98,000. And I was like, holy cows. My brother-in-law bought a house for $105,000. I'm like, you're crazy. How are you ever going to pay that? I'm at $98,000. These are the kind of numbers, you guys. This is where when the world's weird, people say, I can't afford houses nowadays. But you got to remember, I was probably making $8 an hour back then too. Right. It's not like we were making 25 minimum wage and, or whatever. But anyway, so long story short, we bought the house, closed on it. I did all my own landscaping. I eventually finished the basement. I built the deck, all with my father's being my real estate agent. And then I sat there and I got into the business eventually. But what was crazy was when I sold that house for $389,000, I was like, I'm loaded, John. I don't even know what to do with all this money. What am I going to do? And that's my story, man. It inspired me so much that I was like, I got to do this for other people. I got to help other people realize the power of investing in themselves, saying, screw you, world. I'm swimming upstream. I'm not going with the herd. I'm going to go this way. Let's get you a house. Let's make you some money. And I tell you what, there's nothing more proud to me. I feel like a Papa. There we go. Sorry. I feel like Papa Bear. And I'm like taking my cubs out and we're buying a house. And then they call me in 5 years or 6 years and they say, we're up $100,000.
Yeah.
That is about as high of a high. That's like me winning the gold medal at the Olympics. I just absolutely, I don't know. I get excited about that.
Well, yeah. And two things that I'm taking just from that thing right there. One, the lasting impression you can make on someone. I mean, you've been in the business for 30 years almost, right? So you still remember that first interaction with a pushy person trying, hey, young people that want to be an entrepreneur, impressions matter,
Yeah.
Make sure you're leaving a lasting impression. That's one of my things. It's like, drives me crazy when we have the opportunity to help these people and get to their closings and everything. You have a lasting impression to make and you don't even show up for closings. And it's like, come on, people. The other thing, man, I thought I was rolling my first year out of college. I made $16,000. I was like, man, I'm rolling in it. I am killing it. And then I'm like, what are these taxes? I'm like, damn it. But it's crazy to think how, we all thought that when we bought our first house, we're like, how are we going to make that $500 payment? How are we going to make that $600 payment? And we just didn't make, when we were coming out of school and even when we were working side jobs, we're making $4, $5, $7 an hour. It's crazy, All right, let's go on to question number 3. You kind of brought it up, but I love this question. It's one of my favorite ones. What is a favorite memory of you growing up as a kid?
A favorite memory for me, honestly, and this, do I have to be on real estate topic or can it be off topic?
No, off topic.
I literally will almost tear up when I say this. I used to love going to my father's house. They had a place at the lake. They'd been there 70 years. This place has been in the family, right? And we would pull up and my grandpa was always out in the garden with his red and black checker jacket. And he's out there working on, and he was a bigger guy. He's out there working now.
It's called Buffalo.
Yeah, what's that?
Now. He's in fashion now. That's like Buffalo plaid or something,
Yeah, I think, Buffalo. There we go. Or what one of my other buddies calls them lumber sexuals. Yeah. So no, he's out there working on his garden. He'd always wave and stop and come over and greet you. And we're at the lake and everything is good. And fairy tales still exist. And we'd go out there and grandma'd run out and she'd go, I just made some fresh lunch. Come on in, kids. And I'm like, what an absolute treat to be in a world where everything is okay and everything is love and everything is generosity and everything is, we filled up the boat for you kids so you can go out riding on the boat and we're so excited you're here. You should bring your friends next week.
Yeah.
It helped, really be my foundation of generosity and a foundation for me of just being grounded and just understanding what's really important. I didn't get money from them, but I felt love from them. And that was something that is one of my fondest, probably childhood memories I have, other than when I was in high school and I'd sell all my candy in my bag. That was pretty good too, but.
It's one of those things that, again, we're touching to people, a lot of people that are going to be watching this stuff. There's more to life than money. These memories that we make and the life that you live, and it lasts a lot more than money does.
I agree.
Those are the things that it makes it so fun. So let's go on to question number 4. You're tying it back into there, but I know you got things that are going on now too. What is your favorite activity to do in the summer?
I love to go to the lake, and I swear this is me tying back into my manual labor side of my brain, which I love. I love to go clean the beach. We're up in Alexandria. We have a place on Lake Ida. So those of you that are up there, or out on Pilgrim Point, Honk Wave, but whatever, I love going up there and just cleaning up the beach and making it perfect, kind of like my grandpa did for me, for my kids. And it's something that I actually really enjoy, and it clears my head, makes me worry about how does this look? How does that adjust the docks, do this? All of that is for a labor of love for me, for my family and my friends to enjoy. And for now, I actually, and I say this for now, because as I'm getting older, eventually I'm not going to enjoy rolling in a 300-pound dock. But it's like right now, I actually really enjoy that stuff, and I get a kick out of when they really appreciate it. Yep. So it's kind of gratifying. I'm still touching the manual labor side of clears my head and makes people smile. That's important to me.
And it's a great experience. Again, I just went through this. It was last weekend. Had my youngest up here at the lake, and I'm like, hey, we got to put on a couple of sections of the dock. And he jumped right in and helped. And I'm like, good, because you know what? Now you see how difficult it's been for me to do it, basically mom and dad doing it, putting it in, they learn from it, and they're starting to appreciate it. For all the times that they go, oh, we got to go to the lake. Yeah. My friends are doing it. Now they're starting, it's kind of coming back, and they're like, all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It's awesome.
All right. Number 5, big one, we're going back into the real estate. Okay. Why should people still be looking to buy and sell in this market?
I think the biggest mistake people will make is trying to time markets. I do think some people get lucky, but the percentage is so slight that it's not worth the investment of your stress and your time to do it. The other thing is that why would I invest into real estate? I see, current markets where we're at, and I looked at where we've been, and I looked at what it was like in the 80s, and I looked at, and things eventually do, recover. They get worse, they get better. They get worse, they get better. So if you're in the mindset that you think that things are bad now, or it's not affordable now, or whatever it is, just remember that as you move forward in an investment that you can live in and you can love and you can improve, it'll change your demeanor. It'll actually, for an example, if you don't own a house right now, you're in an apartment or you're living in somebody's basement, and getting to that point of where the pride of ownership is something that I can't sell you on, but when you experience it, I'll tell you what, it is something that is so gratifying. And having that pull up in the driveway at the end of the day, and you're like, geez, I own this place. And look at how nice that garden looks, or look at how nice that yard, how green it is. And it helps you mentally. It helps you believe in yourself. It helps you grow. It's more than just a house, right? It's like, and then on top of that, as you move through the process of life, and maybe you get married or you have some kids or you whatever, and things change. What's really cool about it is that, like I've always said this, you can always, move to another project or move to another level of home. Maybe you want something bigger to really, show off how successful you are, or which a lot of people don't want to admit it, but it's facts. Or maybe you need to downsize because now you're on wheels, you have wheelchair accessibility issues, and you want to, be able to get around the house easy and just live a normal life. Things change, but the good thing about real estate is that historically, if you hang into it long enough, you'll forget about what you paid and you'll make money over time. And there's no guarantees, of course, but I think that what's nice is that equity. A lot of people, I'll be honest with you, don't have the capacity to handle more, the ability to save. They don't have the ability to put money away in retirement. And for a majority of homeowners across America, a big part of their worth is their houses. And, I've had, John, not to keep rambling, but I've had people say, well, I'm a renter, I'm going to rent forever. And I said, but what's really scary about being a renter is that your rent's going to be going up every year, subjective to, I mean, in the Twin Cities, the last couple of years, I don't know if you paid attention, it's been going up over 10% a year.
Yep.
Your expenses are going through the roofs, my friend. Mm-hmm. You had a house and you locked it in. Guess what's locked in? Right? That house is locked in. And if you pay it, here's the deal. If you rent this place, I always say this to kids and they chuckle. You rent this place for 30 years. We're so appreciative. We're just going to give you the building and all of its appreciation.
Yeah.
Think about that. Who else is going to do that for you except for you taking care of yourself, lining it up, talking to professionals? You know, like I've always said this. I always start with a guy like John here and you say, okay, John, how does this work? You know, how do I save money? And John's going to sit down with you and he's going to explain to you, this is what you do per paycheck to save money. But he might also say to you, you know what, right now with the cost of money going up or inflation, you'll never keep up with inflation. You may be smarter to buy now with less down and let the house appreciate so you get the appreciation, save the money up and refinance or whatever you want to do down the road that makes more sense for you. But getting in the game is probably the biggest thing that people are scared of. And I say no matter how you do it, I would suggest that you at least explore what the options are.
And it's great. I mean, when I sit down and talk to people after, it's them taking an investment in themselves, because that is always, you know, I mean, we've only had a couple of down years ever in real estate, in actual, you know, and you look at the numbers came out, 4.4% appreciation month over month. I mean, where are you finding that where you're actually, you're paying in and gaining money? You know, I mean, it's a great investment in yourself. And if something breaks down and you have to do it, hey, pull up those adult pants and go do it, you know, and know that, hey, this is mine. You know, start up, have buddies live with you, have whoever live with you. You're gaining that appreciation in the house, and it could be such a huge thing to change someone's life.
Well, you know, for sure. And I think that, you know, there's a lot of parts about thinking about being an owner is scary to a lot of people. And they're like, oh, I just want to be a renter. Well, miss a rent payment, see what happens to your credit, see what happens to your eviction process. Yeah. You get kicked out into the real world real fast in a rental faster than you do in a house. The house, you know, the FDIC and all the different protection agencies that are out there are geared to protect you as a homeowner. They don't want you to be evicted. They don't want you to whatever. And if you get into hard times, get a roommate. You know, it's like there's a lot of different ways. And if you surround yourself with professionals, you're not going to be scared. You're going to be informed. And you'll know what to do. You'll know what you need to do and when you need to do it. You know, because I tell you what, John, I look at a lot of people over the years, and it's just the American way. A lot of people spend all their money. They make $10,000 a month. They spend $10,000 a month, right? There's no extra. Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice to have a forced savings plan every month that says, hey, I'm paying my rent or your wink, wink, your mortgage payment, right? And that's paying off your house. And it's going into something that eventually will be paid off. It'll be all yours. You can actually take a break on the treadmill of life once in a while, take a step off and relax. And someday that'll come to you. But you got to get on the treadmill to get it going. Correct.
Yeah, it's one of those. Good friend of mine, a long time ago, learn, teach, do. I mean, you do that and you can have a lot of success. Well, it's a great time, Andy. I appreciate all your time. You got to turn on the lights, man. We got to see.
Oh, I forgot. Hey, ready?
How do we find you? Bam! We're just like that.
Go to the internet. I'm everywhere.
Light up, yeah.
Yeah, they were just a little bright in the camera here, so I shut them off.
It looks great. It looks great. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, follow us on social.
Yeah, follow Andy on social. He's a great find. He does a radio show. He does all this stuff. He does everything to help educate people in the right way to do what they need to do. So thank you again, Andy. I appreciate it. This was fantastic and look forward to it next time.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure. And anybody needs a mortgage, you call, wait, where are you? Over here. This guy, whichever side you're on. Awesome guy.
Andy, I'm so damn fat. You just point anyway and you're going to hit me.